All right, let's talk about a mission that is, no exaggeration, a huge leap for humankind. Artemis II. This is a story that's been in the works for decades, and it's finally happening.
Just let that sink in for a second. More than half a century. That's how long it's been since people have ventured out beyond the cozy confines of low Earth orbit. The last time was Apollo 17, way back in 1972.
And this time, we're sending a crew of four. Four brave individuals are getting ready to push the boundaries of what's possible all over again.
Yeah, their destination isn't the International Space Station, which is, relatively close. They're going out into deep space for a trip all the way around the moon.
So let's really get into it. Artemis II is the next massive step in NASA's grand plan to get us back to the lunar surface. But here's the key thing. This isn't a landing mission. This is something that's arguably even more important right now. It's a test, a huge one. So what's the actual game plan? Well, it's about a 10-day flight that's going to take these four astronauts on what they call a free return trajectory. Basically, they're going to loop around the far side of the moon, and gravity will just naturally slingshot them right back home to Earth. The whole point of the mission is to push the Orion spacecraft and all its life support systems to the absolute limit, but this time with people on board.
Of course, all this incredible technology is only half the story, right? The other half, the really important half, is the human element. So who are these four people about to make history?
Okay, leading the charge is Commander Reed Wiseman. The pilot, at the controls, is Victor Glover. And joining them are two mission specialists. You've got NASA's Christina Cook, and representing the Canadian Space Agency, Jeremy Hansen. This is a truly international crew, kicking off a brand new era of exploration. And this is where it gets really historic. I mean, this crew is just shattering records. Christina Koch is set to become the very first woman to travel this far from Earth. Victor Glover will be the first person of color, and Jeremy Hansen the first non-American. This crew right here really represents a new, more inclusive age of spaceflight for all of humanity. It's awesome. And even with all the cutting-edge science and engineering, you gotta love that some classic astronaut traditions are still going strong. Before they even head to the launch pad, the crew sits down for a game of cards, and they play until the commander, that's Reed Wiseman, loses. It's this fun, kind of superstitious ritual to, get all the bad luck out of the way before lighting that candle. Okay, so let's break down the trip itself. We're talking about a 10-day dance through the cosmos, and every single step is meticulously planned out. The goal is to test every single system on that Orion spacecraft, and in the process, take this crew farther from home than anyone has ever been before. So the flight plan can be broken down into 5 key phases. It all kicks off with that mind-blowing launch, obviously. Then comes a really crucial checkout period in a high Earth orbit. After that, they hit the gas for what's called the translunar injection. Then it's the main event, the flyby around the moon, and finally, the white-knuckle return and re-entry through our atmosphere. Now that first day in space, it's absolutely critical. Before they commit to going all the way to the moon, the crew is going to put Orion through its paces. They'll be testing how it handles manually, checking every dial on the life support systems, just making sure every single piece of this incredible machine is working perfectly. Think of it like a full dress rehearsal before the big show. And get this, during this mission, the crew is going to smash a record that's been standing for over 50 years. They will travel farther from planet Earth than any human in history, going beyond the old record of about 248,655 miles set by the legendary crew of Apollo 13. But for all the incredible moments and amazing views on this journey, the most important part of the entire mission happens right at the very end. The biggest challenge, the single most important test, comes in the final few minutes of this 10-day flight. So what is it? What's the mission's biggest test? It's not the launch. It's not even the long journey around the moon. It's all about proving that Orion's heat shield can do its job and bring the crew home safe and sound. The Orion capsule is going to come screaming back into Earth's atmosphere at a mind-boggling 25,000 miles per hour. That is the fastest a crewed vehicle has ever attempted re-entry, and it generates temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun. The only thing between the astronauts and that inferno is the heat shield. So here's the deal. The whole reason this is such a huge test goes back to the uncrewed Artemis I flight. See, after that mission, engineers found that the heat shield had eroded in ways they didn't expect. Turns out some gases were getting trapped inside the material, causing little bits to chip away. So, for Artemis II, instead of a crazy expensive, time-consuming redesign, they came up with an ingenious fix. They're going to come in at a steeper angle. This new trajectory actually reduces the amount of time Orion spends in that super-specific, high-heat environment that caused the problem. This is the fix, and Artemis II is the ultimate test to prove it works. You see, a successful mission isn't just about the crew splashing down safely. It's about unlocking the entire next chapter of human exploration. It's the validation of years and years of work by thousands of people. When you boil it all down, this flight is the final exam for the Orion spacecraft. If it passes this test, that gives NASA the green light, the final certification it needs for Artemis III, the mission that will finally land astronauts, including the first woman, back on the lunar surface. And here you can see just how it all fits together into the bigger picture. Artemis I, back in 2022, was all about proving the rocket and the ship could fly. Artemis II, coming up in 2026, is to prove they can fly with a crew. And all of that paves the way for Artemis III, the planned return to the lunar surface in 2028. Every single mission is a deliberate, calculated, and necessary step forward. For more than 50 years, deep space has been an empty frontier for humans. Artemis II is about to change that. This is the test flight that bridges the gap between the Apollo generation and the Artemis generation. And if they succeed, the answer to that question is going to be a loud, clear, resounding yes.